the Desert Tiger Podcast.
Hello, Rylan. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, man?
Doing fantastic. Having a great day so far. First day back in BC after a little bit of a vacation. So,
Oh yeah, where'd you go?
just back home to Saskatchewan. That's where I'm originally from. So, yeah.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah. Went home, visited some family, after finally being able to. So,
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I wish I could see my my family more. I haven't gotten to do that in a while, but working hard. It's good.
hey, sometimes it happens, right? It's busy out on the road and otherwise. And then, of course, with things being shut down, didn't help it either, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy times.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're here to talk a little bit of harmonies today.
Indeed. Yes, we are.
All right, all right. So if you want to introduce yourself and what you do exactly in harmonies before we jump into the music itself.
Yeah. So I'm Rylan Whalen. I'm the singer and one of the co-founders of Harmonies. I'm from Burlington, Ontario, and yeah, that's about it. I mean, that's pretty much my definition.
All right, all right. Well, as you just heard, we're here with the lead singer of Harm and Ease, and my goodness, I love the name. I love wordplay. So
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. It's funny because a lot of times you'll tell the people the name and then they don't really get it for a second until they read it and they're like, oh, that's really clever. Yeah, it's cool.
I'll openly admit it took me at least a moment too, but as soon as I got it, I was like, oh my goodness, beautiful.
Yeah, they usually take the segment. Cool. Thanks, man.
All right. So, of course, we're here to talk a little bit of Cut Me Loose. But before we get there, I want to lay a little bit of a foundation for the listener here. So, your third album, Midnight Crisis, released in October of 2020. And the band mentioned that you felt that it was a new era for this group here with Harmonies. So, moving out of that album, which was your first album recorded in Canada, so what was it sort of like to try and move forward into this new era from there, I guess we should start at?
Yeah, I mean, it took a bit of planning. Like we knew we were going to make that next album, but we didn't know exactly where it was going to be or when it was going to be. So we, for about a year, we were making these songs and we were ready to record them. But then at the same time, we were getting ready for this move. And we actually reached out to this guy named Dominic John Davis, who's the bass player on a lot of Jack White's solo stuff. And he plays with Jack White. He's a good friend of his. So we reached out to him and we flew him out to Toronto once we moved there. And we recorded in Hamilton, but he was staying in Toronto. And it was crazy because, when we lived in Argentina, we had a few different members that aren't in the band anymore. And we were kind of adjusting to, what the band is now and coming back to Canada. We were pretty much starting fresh. Like we didn't really, we started the band in Canada years ago, but like it'd been years since we were back here. So we really didn't know what to expect, but luckily all the pieces just fell in place and we made it work. And we recorded at Catherine North Studio, which is it's a nice studio in Hamilton. And if you know City and Color, he did some of his albums there. So it was really cool to work in that area too. And that space. It was just, like you said, it's just, things are changing and it was a new time in our lives and we were having new experiences. So, the music reflects that and the sound reflects that. And it had been the first album which we, recorded in one large take. We did it in about 2 weeks. And with the other albums, it was kind of spaced out. Like we would go into different studios every once in a while and kind of chip away some songs. But it was the first time we really like got in the studio and that's all we were doing. And we were working the craft and making these songs perfect. And it was a really cool experience because it was our first experience in a legit Canadian studio.
Okay, so I have to ask, what brought the band back to Canada after 5 years in Argentina?
Well, I guess I got to go back a bit further. The reason why we went to Argentina in the first place. So the band started in high school with me and Danny. And he's actually Colombian. So he when he was a young kid, he moved from Colombia to North America because I can't get too much into it, but there was a lot of civil unrest in Colombia back then, and his family was kind of targeted because his father owned this big business, and they wanted it was just really messy. So they were harassing his family, and they had to flee under refugee status. So that's when I met Danny in high school. We were about 14, and everything was going good at that point. You know, we were just writing. It was just the both of us, and we were writing acoustic music, and we were playing at little social halls and the YMCA and stuff like that. And we really felt like we had all the time in the world, like nothing could stop us. And then the Canadian government reached out to Danny's family and said, well, there's no more trouble in Colombia anymore, so you can go back home. And it was pretty much a polite way of like, yeah, go back. But they didn't, it wasn't as simple as that, because there's still a lot of corruption in Colombia and there's a lot going on. So his family actually relocated to Argentina, which is a much safer country in general and a little bit more established. And luckily, they love rock and roll there. So Danny moved down there around 2014, I believe, or 2013. And I was still in high school at the time. So in that time, we were on Skype every night. And we were writing songs together and kind of planning like, we gotta get together. And if he couldn't come to Canada anytime soon, I decided to go to Argentina. So I worked a job and I finished high school, and I just made enough money to move out there. And I went there when I was about 19. I wasn't planning on staying for that long, but then I ended up staying for like 5 years. And in those course of those years, we met our guitarist John, who's Argentine, and we met him on the street busking. Actually, it's crazy because when we first moved there, we had no idea what we were going to do. We didn't know anyone, so we would busk on the street, or we'd go to like open mics and stuff. And through doing that, we met a lot of people who offered us real shows and real clubs. And, throughout those years, we pretty much hustled and just played music as much as we can. And we traveled the country and made a pretty big fan base. But ultimately, I was singing English in the Spanish-speaking country. So, we had a pretty big following, but we didn't get the same opportunities as other bands who spoke Spanish and were actually a fully Argentine band, even though I was actually the only Canadian in this Argentine band at one point. But it is a whole weird thing. We didn't get the same opportunities. And even these bands that are a lot bigger aren't even making that much money because the economy is just kind of shit down there right now. So we always knew we wanted to come back to Burlington. It was just a matter of time and planning it out. And, that's like I said, we used to have a couple other members in the band who kind of stayed back because other reasons, one of them had a kid, one of them couldn't leave his other job. So our guitarist now, John, he's Argentine, so he decided to make the move. But it takes a while to get the guys' visas in order and then get the plane tickets. So that was about a year of planning for that. But it was always the goal to come back to Canada because that's where it all started. And there's just a better market here for an English singing band.
Absolutely. As you said, a little bit more opportunity. And it's kind of like funny in a way how that's exactly how it works, where it's just based on where you're located. Because like, say, if it was an Argentinian band singing Argentinian music inside of Toronto, they would have the exact same problems of, even if it was just the singer, it would be, okay, but like, can we put this on the radio? Can we market this? How do we market this?
Yeah, it's complicated. So pretty much, they just didn't know what to do with us down there. But we had a good time, and we just got a lot better when we practiced and we traveled, and we found our sound. It was a real formative time in our lives. But it's great to be back here to take things a bit more seriously and get on the next level of the industry and such.
Mm-hmm. And then it just speaks to like the bond inside of the band is like you've continued to build, because like you said, for like you and Danny, it's you moved to Argentina to continue working on this band, where like some people would have just been like, okay, well, I need to find somebody who's more local. That's how we got to make this work. Where it's like, no, we're going to make this work with the guy who I've been writing with this entire time, and just continuing to build from there and making it work no matter what. That's amazing.
Yeah, I guess sometimes I don't know exactly how it happened or why it happened, but we just, Danny and I have a really strong friendship. And when he moved away, my parents even said like, oh, why don't you find someone else to jam with? I maybe I did jam with a couple other people, but there was never that same connection that we had because we just kind of, it's very strange. We're very different people and we're from different parts of the world, but we're very alike and we have a very common goal. And yeah, I guess just through all of it, it's that kind of naive, like youthfulness that we had to us back then. We're like, well, we'll make it work. We'll figure it out. And as you get older, you're like, wow, it's like it's complicated. These things like governments and visas and contracts. It's all crazy. But at the end of the day, it's about the music, and that's what we always wanted. We just wanted to write honest music and live together and just do it, be friends, and see where it goes.
Hmm. Absolutely. So at what point does Cosmic Cat Records step into things? Because you had just mentioned contracts there. So obviously you guys have been working with them, the most recent song released through them. So when does that sort of formulate, getting with the record label?
Yeah, so we've been with the label for about 2 years now. We actually met the owner of the label through another friend because he came to one of our shows and he's like, oh, you got to meet this guy. He's got a label. He's really great. I think he'd like your music. So our friend invited the head of our label out, and he immediately really liked us. I guess he really liked the energy and just the passion we had without, not knowing too much about us. And like, it's a bit complicated. You're like, well, what? They're from Argentina. What? There's some of them aren't Canadian. It's like, it didn't really matter to him. He was just like, these guys are cool. They rock out. They've got energy and everyone's dancing. He's like, this is good. So we started working with them. And yeah, they actually helped us record that last album, Midnight Crisis, and flew out Dominic John Davis, the producer. And then from there, we just kept, trying to work together and make more music. So they set us up with our own studio in our basement. And we've just been, I guess with the pandemic, we couldn't go out and play a lot of shows. So we wrote like the better part of like 2 albums, and we had nothing but time to work on these songs and perfect them. So we're kind of sitting on that music, and we can thank our record for just setting us up with a really nice studio so we can do it ourselves. But yeah, it's just really, it's cool because they're not a big label, so it's a bit more independent, and we work kind of hand in hand with them. It's not so much some guy upstairs, some big stiff telling you got to do this and this. It's very cooperative, and we find out what works, what doesn't, and it's a good relationship for sure.
Sort of growing together then.
Yeah. We're all learning at the same time, I suppose.
Awesome. Well, it's a constantly adapting industry, and especially through this past year and a half with COVID, like you said, where live shows maybe weren't a thing. A lot of people had to record from home and a lot of other things. So a lot of people had to learn through this past year. So it's always good to have a team to sort of help it out. So it's not, you're trying to handle everything as one unit, right?
Yeah, no, it's great that we have that now. We have a lot of people working with us, from, promotion to publicists and stuff like that. And, tour managers. So, but that's the thing. Yeah, like the last year or two, it was just we did about as much as we could in our own house with our own cameras and our own equipment. And, it's good. I really hope that shows start back up again, and we can get out there and play for some people, because we just have such a build up of new music that we really want to test out on people.
And of course, the newest of that music is your latest single, which released here on July 16th of 2021. That is Cut Me Loose. It is one heck of a rocker. Take us a little bit behind this track.
Yeah, so it's a cool tune. It's this kind of bluesy modern rock song, about love and betrayal and those kind of feelings. But what was really interesting is that we, like I said, we've been working on some new songs, and we're kind of, every once in a while, we'll just post a little clip on our TikTok or Instagram or something of these new songs. And we posted this little snippet of Cut Me Loose where we were playing it in the park, and pretty much overnight, the song like blew up. It had like 200 million views, and everyone's asking, where's this song? We got to hear this song. And we didn't have the song, like the song wasn't ready yet. It wasn't out. So our manager messages us. She's like, guys, we got to record the song right now and get it out while people are still like interested in it. Well, it's still like, this is good. Like, this doesn't just happen to bands. So yeah, that song blew up. And yeah, like I said, overnight, it was pretty much like millions of views. And that week we went into the studio and recorded the song. And then we reached out to our animator who does a lot of our lyric animated videos. So he started working on that. He got it done in another week. And then, yeah, the song was out in like 2 weeks. So it was a really crazy thing how quick it happened. Because we didn't even, like I said, we didn't think that was going to be the single we released. We had some other songs in mind that we thought maybe were even better. Like, not that it's a bad song in any way. It's a great song, but we just didn't expect it to blow up. So it was kind of, yeah, it was this very serendipitous, like, oh, cool. Like we didn't expect this song to blow up. And the fact that it's one of our more rockin', like driving party songs. It's cool that people actually really like it and there's a good reception to it. And then we got really lucky because a lot of Canadian Spotify playlists, like they curated the ones they curate, they put us in them, and that just got us a ton of listens overnight too with the Spotify and stuff. So the song's it's doing really well, and I think it's on radio now too, and it's getting played and getting some spins. It's cool. We've got really lucky with it, and we're just really thankful.
Yeah, it's as they say, it's one part timing, it's one part where you are and who you know, and then there's another part luck, right? It's there is no true overnight success, but sometimes you never know what moment it's going to be that takes off and just like rocket strap to your back, right? And it's like, that's crazy how just you put out a TikTok and then suddenly your manager's calling you like, studio now, let's go.
Yeah. You got to wonder whether it's dumb luck or it's, something from above giving you a little chance.
Exactly, right? Whatever factor it is, you just have to be thankful.
Indeed, yeah. Ride the wave.
All right. So, of course, we talked about this new rocker of a track, and you mentioned that you guys have sort of been sitting on some other music as well. So what does the near future potentially hold for the listener?
You can definitely expect some more singles in the next year, and definitely a new album. I'd like to think that before the end of the year we'll have a new album, but maybe early next year. But yeah, you can just you can expect we're actually filming another music video, like a proper music video for Cut Me Loose this weekend. The other music video is more of just like a lyric video for the people who want to read the lyrics and such. So we're gonna make a pretty cool music video. That's so you can expect that pretty soon if everyone's still into Cut Me Loose. That would be cool. But yeah, a lot more singles, and hopefully we'll be able to tour around Canada, whether it's just Ontario or whether we can get out west to see you or wherever,
Oh, hopefully. I mean, I'd like to hear some of these new songs in the crowd as well. And have you guys had the chance to play a show in Canada since you moved back?
Yeah, well, not since the pandemic, really. We actually, I guess, we got luckier than most bands because we got to play a show. We played 4 shows last year, but they were drive-in shows. So it's like when you see a drive-in movie, and we're on this big old stage, and it was quite a big crowd, but it's just kind of strange when you're looking out into a sea of cars, and there's no clapping; it's just honks. So you usually associate honking with like negative things, like you're stuck in traffic or someone's mad at you. So that was a bit strange, but yeah, we got to play a couple times, but it was things like that. It was either like a live stream event with no one there, or it was a drive-in show. But yeah, before the pandemic started, we got to play some shows in Ontario, and we kind of did the old stretch of big cities and as much as we could. But yeah, we were kind of starting to get things rolling, and then the pandemic happened, and it was like, I guess that everyone got hit with that. So it could have been worse. We luckily we all lived together, and we made the best out of the situation and made a lot of music and just prepared for the future.
Well, so as we said earlier, we all had to adapt, and it sounds like you've definitely made the most of that. And of course, we also talked about some things going viral as well. And you guys have had the chance to work with a group that also got their big break through that sort of a viral thing with Walk Off the Earth. So what has it sort of been like to sort of have that shine, that rub, to be able to work with a group of that stature?
Yeah, that was really crazy because the band started in Burlington, Ontario, which is the same town that Walk Off Theatre started. And so when we were in high school and we were just starting the band, they were already kind of like world renowned, and they were, everyone knew them. They were like hometown heroes. So it was like we always looked up to them. We're like, maybe we'll meet them once we move back from Argentina. It was kind of just like this thing we'd always joke about, like, well, yeah, we'll probably meet them. So we before the pandemic happened, we were playing a show in Hamilton, and our label reached out to Gianni because he'd liked one of our videos the other time. He kind of knew of us, so we reached out to him and asked like, hey, you want to come to a show? And surprisingly, he came out, and he really liked us. He just he liked our energy, and he I guess he's got a soft spot for us because we're from Burlington too. So he offered to be our manager. So a lot of the new gigs we got, and playing the drive-in show. We opened for Walk Off the Earth for one of those drive-in shows, and we did the Toxic music video with them, and we're always kind of working with them. And he kind of Gianni's our manager, the singer. He kind of advises us on a lot of our new songs and helps us with recording. And he's just been showing us the ropes with the business too. And he's been around a long time. So it's good to have someone like that on your side. And it's just a real blessing. It's really cool. We're stoked that we can, they can pass that torch on to us, and we can start rocking out the Canadian scene too.
All right, absolutely. Like you said, hopefully break out across Canada, and then from there a little bit further, maybe back to Argentina, but who knows where it can go, right?
Maybe. we'll get back there one day, but ultimately we'd like to play every country and every place we can, if we can.
Awesome. Well, I have had a blast so far. I have one last question for you, Rylan. Are you ready for it?
Sure.
All right, so we've talked about that move back to Canada, the music that you guys have been crafting over the past 2 years, building up into this moment, getting to work with Walk Off the Earth, sort of having your own viral sensation take off too. So what I would like to know now is, through these past 2+ years here, how has this time helped you grow as a person, or what has it helped you learn about yourself?
So like I said, I lived in Argentina for, the better part of 6 years. And in that time, I really grew to miss Canada. And I always wanted to come back here. I felt like I left at a pretty early age, and I didn't get to experience a lot of the things that the people I grew up with experienced. And it was kind of this sad thing that I never really knew when we'd get back or if we got back. So ultimately coming back, it was this good thing for me as as a person, just to go back to my roots and to kind of experience this life I had before that big move. And I kind of forgot the feelings of being in a small town or just the simpler aspects of songwriting and living. I got caught up in the city life a little bit in Argentina, and I didn't relax a lot. So it was good to come back here. It's been really good for my mind, and it's good to see my family, and ultimately I just feel more like myself. I feel like I lost a bit of myself moving down there. You kind of, because you're speaking Spanish. It's not my first language, and I can't really. I wasn't always able to express myself or always get to say the things I wanted to say. So it was, it's just really refreshing to come back here and know that everyone listening can understand my words, and I can talk to them, and I can have this communication that was kind of broken before. So I would say that.
That's a really interesting perspective, and I'm very thankful that you took the time to share it with us, as well as this last couple years of harm and ease. So thank you very much, Rylan, for joining me here on the Desert Tiger Podcast.
This has been great.